The next one I'm going to show you is Pride by... I always mess up her name. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey. We're about to get very, very nerdy with a fun collection. Hello, I hope everyone is having a fabulous day, whatever day it is that you are watching this. I hope it's a great one. So after going to Y'all Fest a few weeks ago, I promise I will stop talking about it after this video, I realized that I had never done like a signed book collection, and I actually have quite a few more than I thought I did, aka why my shelves look like a hot mess right now. It's because I've taken all of them off, and there are over 35 books here that I have signed. And that is shocking to me. Most of these are either from book festivals or from OwlCrate. However, I do also include them if they come with a book plate, because obviously you're gonna put the thing in the book. So to me, that's also a signed book, or that counts as a signed book. Just because there are so many books here, I will not be going into kind of what they're about. I will leave a list below of all the books that I talk about. So if any of them sound interesting to you, I will leave all of them down below so you can get more information if you so like. But I will be talking mostly about how I got them signed. Some of them have stories and some of them don't. It's just kind of a mixed bag. I have absolutely no particular order in the way I'm showing them to you. I'm just going to pick them up. So without further ado, let's just get right on into the haul. So ironically, this first book that I'm going to show you is probably the first book that I ever got signed, and it just so happened to be right on top. And that is Switcher by Diane Meyer Christensen. I don't remember when this book came out. It's been 2008, so it's been a few years. But this book was one that I got when I went to my very, very first book festival way back in 2008. That sounds really weird saying. When I used to live in Atlanta, they had what was called the Decatur Book Festival, and it was just a bunch of tents that sold books. And occasionally you would get authors there that had like published their own books, or weren't from big publishers, or sometimes they just were like hanging out and were like, hey, I'm here, why don't I sign that for you since you're buying it? And this was just one of those. She just signed it right there on the front. There you go, now you can see it. It just says, to Kelsey, hope you like the book. So the next one's gonna look super familiar because I just talked about it in my last video, and that is The Good Demon by Jimmy Cajoles. This is one that I got at the last OwlCrate. It was one of the ones that, I don't know if you can see it, it's right here, but it's in like gold lettering. But this is just one that the idea of the book grabbed me, but it just got my attention. It was just sitting there already pre-signed, so no amazing story. The next book I'm going to show you is Pride by Eva Zaboy. This came in, I believe, not the last OwlCrate, but what month is it? October's OwlCrate, when it came with 2 signed books. And so this is just a, you know, a fun little remix of Pride and Prejudice that I'm very excited to get to, because obviously Pride and Prejudice. So the next one is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This one came in an OwlCrate this year sometime. Let's find out. This came in the March OwlCrate, and it took me until like this month or last month, I can't remember which month it was, but to read this book. And oh my dear God, it was so good. Just right here, signed, got it in an OwlCrate, and I am so glad that I did. I love that one of my favorite books of this year was signed, and I didn't even realize that when I got it. But thank you, OwlCrate, for broadening my horizon and giving me a new book that I adore. So next two I'm kind of words? So the next two I'm gonna kind of do together, and that is Wonder and 365 Days of Wonder. Now both of these I got at Y'all Fest last week, 2 weeks ago. This one just happens to be kind of like a calendar. Every day you get a fun quote, and so I'm going to be starting this one next year. And this one is just one, I just adore this book, and I needed to replace my terrible copy, so I'm really glad that I got to get a signed copy. I didn't get to actually meet her, but I did go to a panel for hers. And I didn't know that Wonder was her debut novel, and it was published in 2012, and it's been on the New York Times bestseller list since then. So A, it's a debut novel, and it's been on the New York Times bestseller list for what, over 6 years? Like, that's amazing. I'm just really glad that I got to get these two signed, as well as listen to her talk about her writing and her Choose Kind movement. The next one is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagain. This came in the most recent OwlCrate. Also, the back is incredibly gorgeous. Like, every part of this book is absolutely amazing. And her signature, I don't know if you can see. Can we just take a moment? Look how gorgeous her signature is. It is so simple, but it's so pretty. I want a signature like that. Anyway, I'm really glad that I got to have this one, another one, thanks to Owlcrate, that I don't know if I would have gotten or been able to read if not for them. So the next one is one that I got at YALLFest last year, and that is Release by Patrick Ness. I went to a panel that he was on. I didn't really know a whole lot about Patrick Ness. I didn't know a lot about the whole lot of authors last year. I was kind of out of the know when I was going. But in the way that he was describing this book, and he said it was based kind of on Forever by Judy Blume, he was talking about how not a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community, you know, get to have the talk because not a lot of parents who have kids in that community know how to do that. And so he was kind of writing it for the younger him so that maybe kids this age would get to know kind of that area more. But it was just lying on the table and I wanted to get it anyway, and I didn't realize that it was signed when I picked it up, but after I purchased it I realized it was signed and I was very excited. The next one I'm going to talk about is Foolish Hearts by Emma Mill. This came in, I believe, last December's Owlcrate. It is a book plate. It's not physically signed by the author, but I just like that it's this fun little book and it's signed. It's always like an added like perk to the whole, this book sounds interesting, but it's signed, which makes it 10 times better. The next book is also one from Owlcrate, and that is From Twinkle with Love by Zendaya Menon. This is also the author who wrote When Dimple Met Rishi, and that is probably one of my favorite books of this year. So I'm very excited to finally have her second one, and I kind of wish that When Dimple Met Rishi was signed, but I will take any signed book, especially because I feel like she's going to be one of those authors that I instantly am drawn towards regardless of what she writes. The next one, also Owlcrate, is Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This one is kind of like a Viking retelling, and I do like Vikings, but it's like physically signed, which is nice. But yeah, so nothing super amazing about this. I am excited that I have it, and I do like Viking stories, so I'm hoping to get around to it at some point. Someone decided to commit a crime because there are sirens. 10 years later, we're still here. The next one is one that I picked up from this year's Owlcrate, and that is Love a la Mode by Stephanie Kate Schramm. This just sounds like a fun little rom-com that involves baking, and there it is right there, the lovely signature. Okay, finally one with a story. So next one I'm going to talk about is Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the author who wrote the Raven Boys cycle. So this book came out in 2009, and I believe when I got this, all 3 in the series were already out because I remember buying them all at the same time, but I only got the first one signed. She was also at that Decatur Book Festival I was talking about earlier. She was at that one year, and they were having a panel between her and the woman who wrote the Vampire Academy. I believe it was the Vampire Academy. And it was kind of like the whole werewolf versus vampire, and they had this big kind of like panel-y discussion between the two of them, and it was really, really interesting. And so she was talking about her books, and I was intrigued by the ideas behind this one. So I obviously picked all 3 and waited in line and got the first one signed and personalized for me. The next one also kind of has a story, and that is Dry by Neil and Jared Schusterman. I got this one at this year's YALLFest, and Neil was on a panel that I went to, the one with the author from Wonder, and I was like about this, but when I was listening to him talk on the panel about kind of like how he wrote it and how, you know, some people, when you have co-authors, if you've got like 2 points of view, one writes one, one writes the other. Well, this is told in 4 people's points of view, and how did they mesh those? I was sold on that moment. I kind of wanted to see how he was doing that, and of course it is signed by Neil Schusterman, and so I was decided that after listening to him talk, it had to come home with me. So this next one is also probably one of the first books that I got signed, and that is Monmouth and the Canfield Witch by Robert J. So I got this one at the Decatur Book Festival, like one of the first 2 years I went. I think I've only been like a few years. But he was there, he was talking about it, and it sounded interesting, and I thought I would give it a go. You can't really tell because I think he signed it in like this bright green like highlighter. I don't know what possessed him to sign it in that color, but he did. It is not personalized, though he did actually sign it while I was standing there. So the next 2 kind of go together in that they are both from Owlcrate, and they are both that I haven't read, and I'm not entirely like super keen on reading them right now. I have other things that I'd rather be reading. But the first one is Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows. This came from, oh my goodness, sometime last year. I don't even remember what month. It is with a book plate. And the next one is along the same veins, and that is Wild Beauty by Anna May McClure. This is a gorgeous cover. It's probably one of my favorite covers that I own. And it also comes with this signed book plate that kind of matches the cover, which I kind of like. Actually, the next one falls into that vein as well, and that is The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd Jones. This was like my second book I ever got from Owlcrate, and it comes with this signed book plate that I put right on the front, and I even, if you can see right here, I even like started reading and I have a tab. I just didn't go beyond that. The next one I picked up at this year's Y'all Fest, and that is Save the Date by Morgan Matson. This is one that I've been like, I'm gonna get this book, I'll get this book at some point, and just still never got it. And I saw it there, and it was signed, and I went to a panel by hers, and it's about weddings and chaos, and it sounds like a fun, fluffy contemporary, and I like all of those things. Also, if you look really closely, I don't know if you can see it, but she drew a smiley face. It is so cute. I feel like that just like fits her personality. She was very bubbly and happy, and I feel like if you're gonna write contemporary romances, you gotta be bubbly and happy. The next one is one that I also got at this year's Y'all Fest, and that is The Lover's Dictionary by David Leviathan. This one is just super cute. I love the way it's written. It's not written in like a linear format. It's kind of written like a dictionary. I wanted to buy it anyway, but it is signed, and he also drew a little smiley face right there. So cute. So the next book is the book that I got in my very, very first Owlcrate, and that is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. And this one was adorable. I definitely loved it. It came with this cute little book plate, but I love that it's signed because it just makes it so much better. And this is another book that I got from Owlcrate, and that is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is the one that I believe came in my October box with Pride, and it is like, her signature is gorgeous. Like, it's the full thing. I love this because some people only will do like some initials, which is fine if you have like a long name, but she went like the full name. Like, that's legit. Just another book from Owlcrate that is signed, that makes my soul happy. Here we go with another Owlcrate. I'm sensing a theme here. This one is My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is a retelling of Jane Eyre. So this did come in Owlcrate, and it got all three of them signed. I don't love the colors. The original one was blue and yellow, and this gives me like a kind of freaky Frankenstein vibe, but that's just my personal preference. But I love that all three of them is like full on signed it with their full name, not just initials, which is very cool. So the next book I picked up is actually an ARC, and this one came from this year's Y'all Fest, and that is Waiting for Fitz by Spencer Hyde. And the lady was holding it up, and kind of she was telling us a little bit about it, but if we stood in line for like a total of like 2 minutes, he was there signing them and personalizing them for you. So that was really cool. So he was super, super nice. This book comes out in March of next year, but he signed and personalized them, and right there it says, Kelsey, you matter. So I love that we got to like physically meet him, even if it was just like a hi, I don't really know who you are, but thank you for being here, you know, all this stuff. Oh, one thing that I do want to mention, Lauren also got one, and she went before me, and while he was signing mine, we were looking at hers, and it said, you matter, and so she was reading out loud, like, oh, I love that, and he looked at us, he goes, and I mean it too. And it's just like a mid moment of like total stranger, like, you matter, you are a person that matters in this world. And I feel like that's something that everyone needs to be reminded. Like, you are in this world for a reason, you matter. And just like shivers when he was talking about it. But that was a really like good experience meeting him, and I was very unexpected, and I kind of loved it, like, a lot. The next one and I have a history, and that is Beautiful Chaos by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. This is the third in the Beautiful Creatures series. So they were at the Decatur Book Festival, some year, I don't remember what it was, and I didn't know you could get all of your books signed, so I only had them sign the newest version that they were talking about, which is the third in the series of 4. It's the only book I have that is paperback. All the other 3 are hardback, and it is the only one I have signed. And I'm really bitter about that because I love my hardbacks. I read the very first one in a hardback. I have like so many memories reading the first book in like this hardback format. Like, I can't replace those. The only one that I would have replaced is the third one because it's the only one that's a paperback. But no, it's signed. And they just wrote Love and Chaos, Kami Garcia, Margaret Stoll. I love that I got this one signed. It was really, really nice meeting them. And I think it was the first time I'd met an author that I knew. Because like before at the festival, it was kind of more of unknown authors, not super famous authors. I didn't even know who Maggie Stiefvater was before I like got that book signed. Now she's big in the YA community, and like I didn't know who she was before I got that book signed. But these two I knew. I was so excited that they were gonna be there. I think I like lost my mind when I met them. So I will have good memories, but also bitter about the whole like only paperback version. Like, why is that the one I got signed? I had the first two with me, but I only got the third one signed. That just doesn't even make sense. Another one from Owlcrate. This is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. I love this cover like 10 times more than the original. And like there's her signature right there. This is one that when I opened it, I was like so excited because it's definitely one that I've been wanting for a while. And the fact that A, we got it in a subscription box, yay please, and also it is signed, it just made my heart happy. The next one is also from Owlcrate, and that is The Glass Spare by Lauren Stefano. This is one that came relatively early on when I was in Owlcrate. Yep, it has the signed book plate that you just stick right on the front. The next one is also from Owlcrate, and this is a relatively new kind of like this fall time. And that is Mirage by Samoya Duad. This one is also lovely signed right there. This one I hadn't heard of until I got it, and then of course I saw it everywhere. So the next one is one that I got from this year's Y'all Fest, and that is The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. This one, just the idea grabbed my attention, and because it is signed in blue, I love how it matches the cover. Like, that's awesome. Like, I have no explanation. It just sounded interesting, and the fact that it was signed just made it that much better. The next book is one of probably my favorite from this haul, and that is Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. This is the first in the Three Dark Crowns quartet. I'm part of this Facebook group where you can kind of like trade and sell bookish merchandise and books that you're not going to use, but you know somebody else will appreciate it. And this was on there, and so I've been looking for a copy because I knew that I wanted my own copy of this. And she mentioned that it was signed, and by golly, it is signed, and that just made my heart soar, and I was so excited. With shipping, I think it was still less than what it would have been like at a bookstore, so that just made me so incredibly happy. And I have a copy, and it's the only one in the series that is signed, but I don't mind because it's the first one. That's just like, that's like a nice bonus when you like purchase a book that you love and it's signed. It's just like a Christmas present to yourself, but all year round. So the next one I'm going to talk about is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is, I believe, January's Owlcrate from this year, and I knew zero about this book. I only knew Holly Black because she co-wrote the Spiderwick Chronicles. I hadn't even read anything else by her, but like I knew her name, and so I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, and everyone was like freaking out about this, and it's like the first one that was like actually, you can't see it. There we go. So there it is. That's the actual signature by Holly Black. It's very unique. I like it. So I'm just so excited that some of my favorite books this year have just happened to come from Owlcrates, and I probably wouldn't have read them or discovered them if they hadn't have sent them out. So what a cool book to get as the first signed book by like a huge name like Holly Black. Like, that is so cool. So the next book actually was the February Owlcrate book this month, and it was the only book that I've ever actually guessed based on the synopsis they gave from the month before, and that is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. But this cover is absolutely gorgeous, and it is signed by the author. Although I didn't absolutely love it, it's signed, and this is a gorgeous book, and I did enjoy my time reading it, so obviously I will keep it. And the next thing before the ones that I'm most excited about is Grace and Fury by Tracy Banghart. This is from the August Owlcrate box, and if I can get it, there you go. It is right there, signed by her. But another one that I probably wouldn't have ever picked up, except if Owlcrate had sent it. So the last book that I'm going to be talking about is the Darkest Mind series. So I'll talk about this one first. This one is The Darkest Legacy. It follows Zoo. It comes after all of the events in the actual main trilogy, but I literally it's from Walmart. I picked it up from Walmart because it was a signed copy that they were selling. Like, it was like right there, and it was signed. How could you not get a signed copy of a series / author that you enjoy? Like, what? And this is the one that I stood in line for like 2 hours to get signed at this year's Y'all Fest, and it was worth every single second. We met really cool people that were standing there with us, so that was super fun. But we also, like, she was so nice. She took her time with us. I've already like raved about her in my Y'all Fest vlog. Each had the 3 books. So imagine there was a 4 books max. We were near the end of like the cutoff, which was 100. We were like 98 and 99 or something. Imagine being there signing books for 96 people and each of them having 4 books each. And it was like nothing. She was like, it's fine, you know, let me talk to you about stuff, you know, all that. She was so sweet. So I just am still in awe that that happened. All of them look the exact same. So I'm only gonna show you this one, but for Kelsey, Hart, Alexander, Bracken. And all 3 of them have that exact same thing in them. And so these are probably, as of right now, these are the ones that like hold my heart the most out of all of my signed books. Just to meet her just made everything like so much better. Y'all, we've been here for a while. And this area right here is a hot mess, but that is it. So thank you guys so much for making it through the end of this video. I hope this was interesting to you. I know I don't have a lot of amazing stories about these. A lot of these came from Owl Crate, so not a whole lot of fun stories there, but I hope the ones that did have fun stories were somewhat entertaining for you. I know I absolutely love getting signed books, whether they come from Owl Crate or whether they are, you know, you stand in line for 2 hours and you meet one of your heroes. Like, it's fine. Let me know down in the comments if you have a favorite signed book story. Please let me know. I love hearing from you guys and I love hearing signed book stories. They're always so different and so much fun. So let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already part of this awesome growing family we've got going on over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!